All right, welcome back. This is going to be episode 4 of the Your Future Endeavors podcast. I am Diavolo,
I'm Lunchbox.
and today there's a special one. We're going to be just strictly covering the All Out pay-per-view, um, which before we even get into any of the action, any of the spots, any of the any of the work that went into the pay-per-view, I think both of us have pretty much come to the decision that this is one of the best pay-per-views we've ever seen, if not one of the best pay-per-views of all time. Just top to bottom, everything was so good. Um, and yeah, man. So we'll go ahead and get into it. But before we do, what were your thoughts on the show, man?
Oh man, as a pro wrestling fan, I couldn't ask for anything better. It was just great, top to bottom. It was such an amazing show. Uh, in the end, they did what they always do. They left me wanting more, and that's all I can ask for as a wrestling fan. Get me hyped for what you're gonna do next. Like, oh man, it was such a beautiful show, man. And as we go throughout this, you'll and we explain our thoughts, you'll understand more why we're we're saying the show was so good. Uh, just ugh.
Exactly. Yeah, just top to bottom. There were so many twists and turns, ups and downs, and it was definitely a roller coaster ride, but it wasn't one that wasn't gonna give you whiplash or something. I mean, this is a nice. I want to say smooth ride, but that would be, um, I think that would be understating it by a lot. It was definitely not a smooth ride. It was very chaotic, but it was enjoyable chaos. Um,
Indeed.
even from like the opening on the pre-show all the way through the main card. Um, but yeah, so we'll go ahead and get right into it. We'll start off. Obviously, we go in order based off of how everything happened in the show here. So we'll be starting off with the pre-show match that was you saw the Jurassic Express and the Best Friends taking on HFO, the Hardy Family Office or whatever. I think that's the acronym, but
Yep.
um, but yeah. So this was good. Um, obviously, I'm starting to become like a huge fan of Jungle Boy. Um, I really enjoy his work, and he's only like 24 years old. Um, so he just has so much potential and so much room to get better, and he's already an incredible wrestler. Um, but yeah, as far as the in-ring action, there was like a really cool like submission spot like in the middle towards the end of the match where it just seemed like everybody was coming in and locking on different holds on each other. I believe there was I know there was like a sleeper used, there was like an octopus choke used. Um, I think there was a crossface also at some point. So there's a bunch of different submissions going on in the middle of the ring. There was like a hot tag to Orange Cassidy, or I don't even remember if it was a hot tag or not, but he was just in there, just he had his hands in his pockets, flipping around, just going fucking crazy, and I think he's incredibly entertaining. Also, I didn't realize apparently he's like number two on like they have like a ranking system based off of wins and losses in AEW, which I think is cool. And he's like number two, so he could be in line for like a title shot eventually, which would be interesting to see freshly squeezed with a belt at some point. Um, and there was one spot um, that it started off as like really funny to me, and then it ended off where I was like, oh shit. So yeah, like it was Luchasaurus, and he had Jungle Boy on on his shoulders, and I can't remember who it was from HFO, but I had another dude, like one of their bigger guys, on the ground, and then they had somebody else up on top, and they were pretty much playing chicken. Like you remember that game, like you would play in the pool, and you got to like knock somebody over in order to like get them in the water or whatever. They were playing that, and then they ended up getting the upper hand on the HFO there. There was a cool spot where somebody went to go off the top rope to I think it was to like form like a crossbody or clothesline or something like that, and Jungle Boy just kind of leaned down and then like did a sit up back up onto the shoulders of Luchasaurus, and then I think it was Mark Quinn he goes off the top rope for a crossbody, or maybe it was Isaiah Cassidy, um, but they go for a crossbody off the top, and it connects, but Jungle Boy ends up like reversing into like a modified like Spanish fly, like off the shoulders of Luchasaurus, which I thought was a really cool and creative spot. It's definitely like not a whole it's not a whole lot that like stuff like that that you see too often. So it was definitely creative, innovative, and it got me hyped up, which I think exactly was obviously the point of this match is to hype up the crowd, give them it was the appetizer to the main course. Um, but yeah, so match was really good. Jurassic Express ended up and the Best Friends ended up getting the victory here. And then after the match, the Best Friends are kind of sitting in the ring. Jurassic Express are leaving. They're going to the back, and then HFO ambushes them, and then we see a return of the Butcher, which is he's obviously in a tag team with the Blade, um, which I think it was Taz. They just kind of like labeled them like the hitmen of the group, so which makes a lot of sense because they are some intimidating fellas. Um, but yeah, so it was like top to bottom for this segment. I thought it was really good. The action spoke for itself, and I thought this was a really good way to get the hype. I mean, if you weren't already hyped up for the show, then you're a fucking idiot. But just to fucking to just extenuate that even more, I think this was a really good way to start.
I agree. I really enjoyed the chicken spot. I thought that was hilarious. Um, uh, and like I like that they didn't take themselves too seriously. That they could pull off a spot like that. I
Right.
did like the submission spot as well. Um, and I like how they continued the story. Like now I'm ready for tonight. Today being Wednesday for Dynamite to see where they go from here. But most importantly, it got me even more hyped for the pay per view that was coming up afterwards.
Exactly. Exactly. Which we will go ahead and get into. Our opening match on the main card was Miro versus Eddie Kingston, and man, these two really just beat the shit out of each other, didn't they?
Oh man, they beat the entire fuck out of each other. Like it was brutal, and I loved every fucking second of it. Like they pulled no punches; they were beating the
hmm
ungodly fuck out of each other.
Yeah, they really tore each other apart. I love that Eddie Kingston came down to the ring in his redeemed these nuts shirt. I thought I thought that was cool. But yes, I thought the match was really good, and I thought I really liked the way that they did the ending. Um, so if you did like, there was like a spot like near the turnbuckle where it looked like it was like Miro like pushed Eddie Kingston into the turnbuckle, and it looks like Kingston ripped the turnbuckle off. So the ref was like, "Oh well, well this can't happen." So he kind of walked over to fix the turnbuckle, and Eddie Kingston ended up hitting like a DDT, which was has been established as like one of Miro's weaknesses. Hits a DDT, pins him. He looks like he's down for the 3 count, but the ref is distracted by the turnbuckle, so he doesn't see it. The crowd's like telling him he fucked up and stuff. Um, but um, but yeah, so the ref was distracted, and while the distraction was going on, and he missed the pin. Miro hits him with the low blow, locks in the game over, and that was the end of the match essentially. But I think there's a lot that you know, they could do with this. I think we might get more matches between these guys. I don't think their feud is done just yet. Obviously, usually whenever a screwy finish like that happens, um, it is very likely to see that they will continue the feud. So yeah, but I thought this was really good. Obviously, Miro keeps his momentum. He is undefeated this year, I believe. So he just keeps rolling. But I love both these guys, and I wouldn't mind them revisiting this thing in the future.
I agree. Just a hard hitting, good match, man. Good old fashioned beat the hell out of each other and go have a beer afterwards match. It was
hmm
so good. I'm spoken. I've spoken highly on Miro before. I really like Ray. where he's going in AEW. WWE definitely wasted a great talent when they had him. Um, Miro is so good on the mic and in the ring, and I know everybody does their version of a super kick nowadays, but in my opinion, Miro might have the best one because it just looks when he puts the little jump into it, and oh man, it just looks nasty
Mm-hmm.
because it looks like he's hitting you with all his body weight, and
Yeah.
it's nasty. Um, I I really can't I really can't wait to see these two go at it again. I hope they don't just move on. I would love to see them have a rematch, and maybe Eddie Kingston gets the rub this time. It doesn't have to be for the championship or anything. Maybe it's just a normal match, but I can't wait to see them go at it again because I like those hard hitting matches, and this one was definitely that.
Yes, indeed it was. And we got even more of that throughout the show. There was a lot of matches that were really hard hitting, brutal. And just had some incredible spots. Um, but yeah, like you said, I'm really interested to see where they go with this moving forward. And like the question is like I'm not sure how soon they will do this, but when does Miro actually lose the TNT Championship, and when does he go like uh, for the AEW World Title? Because I think he's obviously proven with the TNT Championship, which is essentially like a mid card title, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it means something. It doesn't feel, if I could draw a comparison to like a United States Championship or anything, it doesn't feel like he's like completely relegated to the mid card. It feels like their mid card guys are all easily like they easily all could step up into that main event role. So I'm interested to see like when does he finally move up into that main event, um, like the world title picture. Um, but yeah, yeah. Hopefully they revisit this soon. I don't think these guys could miss putting on a match, so it's I, I look forward to it. Um, yeah, moving on. So we had following that match, we had another brutal match. It was John Moxley versus Satoshi Kojima. If you don't know, Kojima is like a New Japan Pro Wrestling legend. Um, yeah,
Yes.
this match was brutal. I mean, and if you don't believe me, go watch it. Literally, like, so there was a spot where Satoshi was in the corner, like trying to bite a chunk of skin out of Moxley's face. Um, so so this was good, and obviously Moxley has a lot of respect for the New Japan Legends, and I think it goes to show here because he didn't try to pin him just after one paradigm shift. He hit him with two. And Moxley ended up getting the W here. But I think the main talking point of the match that we got it was after. Obviously, Moxley's been big on this whole forbidden door thing, and like who's gonna step through the door. The first one was Kojima. Next is Minoru Suzuki, who is probably even more brutal. I mean, this dude is like a real life legitimate badass, um, and they're gonna be going against each other. We're filming this on Wednesday, so it will be tonight on Dynamite. I am excited to see that match. But yeah, Minoru Suzuki comes down. He gets in the ring. Obviously Moxley challenged him, and then Suzuki just kind of beat his ass and then walked away. But obviously it adds a level of intrigue into the match on Dynamite, which will happen tonight. And yeah, I'm excited to see it. And I thought the match itself
Yeah.
was really good with him and Satoshi.
Oh man, just like we were just saying how we like those hard hitting matches, and coming right off that nasty one with Miro and Eddie Kingston, we get this hell of a bout right here, man. They just beat the shit out of each other,
Hmm.
like throwing elbows at each other's, uh, brain busters, two paradigm shifts. They lariats and all kinds of stuff, man. They were beating the hell out of each other.
Yeah.
And then after a good match, Suzuki comes out there, like you said, and Suzuki was not scared, man. That man knew he was coming out there to whoop Sean Moxley's ass. Like, telling him in his face, he knew what he was about to do. And sure
Mhm.
enough, he beat this shit out of John Moxley.
Yep.
Like, he made, not saying that John Moxley is a bitch, but in that moment, he was Suzuki's bitch. And
Yep.
Suzuki took it to his neck. And,
Yep. And
and
if you haven't had the chance to watch a Minoru Suzuki match, you are going to be in for a huge treat um, tonight on Dynamite.
yes,
So yeah,
I'm excited for the matchup.
this
The
is
whole,
this is gonna be good.
man,
It's gonna be
oh
good.
yes, it's gonna be real good, man. I'm excited for the matchup, man. If it's as hard hitting as that preview they gave us at All Out, I'm all for it. I'm all in.
Yep. All in, based off of All Out. But yeah, so this was good. I really loved it. And then the momentum just kept on rolling, right? So after that, we got the AEW Women's World Championship match. It was Britt Baker and Chris Statlander. Um, this was another great match. Obviously, the women's wrestling in the world right now, there's so much talent, um, and it just goes to show that AEW knows what to do with their talent. Um, there was yeah, like I said, it was a great match. Orange Cassidy kind of came down and like gave Statlander a bit of a boost to try to like get her back into the match. There was a I guess you could call it a foreshadowing or foreboding or something. There was a little spot in the match where Britt Baker hit this little move. I believe they called it the the Pittsburgh Sunrise. Obviously, you know she did her boyfriend's move there. Obviously, Adam Cole is known for the Panama Sunrise, where if you don't know, then you should know. Goes off the second rope and then kind of drops down and does a Canadian Destroyer. Um, so that was cool, and that really like led to like right towards the finish of the match. She hits the Pittsburgh Sunrise, hit a curb stomp, put in the lockjaw. Um, Statlander knocked out, and then yeah, Britt Baker ended up with the W here. But yeah, I thought this match was really good, and I'm looking forward to see where they both go in the future. Obviously, we know where Britt's gonna go, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I'm interested to see what's in the future of Chris Statlander.
I agree. Chris Statlander is extremely talented. Um, they put on a hell of a match, man. Um, I like how they finished the match. That she didn't just squash Statlander.
Mm.
Um, that she literally had to pull out everything in the book to beat Statlander.
Yeah, she threw the whole
Like,
fucking desk at her.
yeah, like she had to use the Pittsburgh Sunrise. She had to use the stomp. And she had to use what's it called?
Oh, the lockjaw.
Yeah, the lockjaw. Um, it was a good match. It gives me see, we've talked about this before. One of the biggest issues with AEW at first was their women's division, but I like how their women's division is coming around, and soon enough, arguably now they have the better women's division. Um,
Yep,
and
and they're just only gonna get better too, especially since they seem to be adding some star power now.
oh yeah, oh yeah, we'll get into that later too.
Yep.
Uh, that I just love Britt Baker. I love how she's carrying the title and how she's carrying the division. She's so talented. Um, I love her persona. Um, I think it's more of herself, which is something AEW is good about, giving people creative freedom. Um, I can't wait to see where both of them go. Well, like you said, we'll get into that later, but I can't wait to see where Statlander goes.
Mhm.
Both women put on a tremendous matchup, and it just kept the night burning. You know what I'm saying? It was a good match.
Yeah, very good, and and yeah, like it kept the momentum rolling, and it was it was definitely like from the first two matches being so brutal and hard hitting. This one it was a good change of pace. Usually a change of pace can be a detriment at some point, but this was a good change of pace. It wasn't nearly as brutal. I mean, they had definitely had some very cool spots and whatever, but it wasn't like this fucking it wasn't like they were coming out there and just fucking throwing haymakers, right? I mean, it was a lot more finesse to it. But it was still just as good, and it was probably up to my point. I liked all the matches, but it was probably my favorite, just because I really enjoy seeing seeing the growth in their women's division, and like every time that they step out there, it seems like they're getting so much better, which is incredible. Which is incredible to see. So yeah, watch out WWE. Y'all got some fucking work to do.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Oh,
y-
you say they got some work to do.
that's
This
an
next match,
understatement.
this next match
Yeah.
really, really proved that they got to step up their game. Cause
Yep.
woo, talking
Yeah.
about talking about the brutality.
Oh my
Woo.
goodness. Yeah, so but we'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, in between these two matches, we had a promo from Andrade El Idolo. He was there with Chavo, and it was essentially just like confirming like Wheat is something we already knew, but the match with Pac had been. Is it Pac or Pac? It doesn't matter. Um, um, but yeah, so it was essentially saying it was like, oh well, the match with Pac has been postponed because of travel issues, and they were kind of like insinuating that like maybe they had something to do with that, so they were like trying to make a story out of it. And it was just the confirmation that this match will happen on Rampage Friday. Um, so yeah, obviously, whenever these two get in the ring, they're gonna tear the house down.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah, very good, very good. I can't wait. That'll probably be the highlight of Friday. I mean, we'll see. SmackDown's been good, but we'll see what happens on Friday. And
Oh
then
yeah.
and then then we had this
Woo.
match, which I just like I don't have words for it because it was so good, but I had to try to find them. And the only thing that I could think of with this was easily match of the night, but it was most like I mean it was possibly match of the year also. Um,
My
it
thoughts
just
exactly.
they had like 20 minutes, and just the things that they did in those 20 minutes are just absolutely absurd. It was the steel cage tag team title match between the Lucha Brothers and the Young Bucks, and my God, you want to talk about brutal? I mean, they were
Oh,
they were they were beating the dog shit out of each other too. And like every time I see Ray Phoenix get into a ring, he does something to surprise me. And this dude is fucking unreal. He did a crossbody off the top of the cage. He's just so innovative with his offense. I love seeing him in the ring. Penta's great too, but I think Ray Phoenix is just um, he's got to be from some different planet or universe or something. Just the way that he works. Um, there were so many cool spots, and there's obviously the cage dive was interesting. I couldn't even count how many near falls. It was just so back and forth. It really captivated you, and that's something that wrestling um, at least in some aspects can struggle with. There's sometimes where it's like, oh yeah, well, I could look away for a second. This one, you didn't want to take your eyes off because you would have missed something. Um, Probably one of my favorite parts of the match is the Young Bucks are getting the upper hand, and Brandon Cutler was on the outside of the cage, and he has this bag, and he tosses it over the top of the cage, and Nick Jackson sits down, he takes his shoe off, and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? He pulls out a fucking blue and white pair of Jordans with thumbtacks, like I don't know if it's glued or like stuck through the bottom of them, but they're just covered in thumbtacks, and just goes on a super kick party all over the Lucha Bros. I mean, you can see it. There was this really cool shot of Penta. It looks like he's trying to like hulk up a bit. And he's like in the corner, and his mask is all torn up, and you see the face paint and just blood running down his face. And I thought that was a really cool shot. But yeah, he brought out the thumbtack Jordans, and fucking was kicking people like crazy. And yeah, man, the match was incredible. We ended up getting new champions here. The Lucha Bros are the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. I thought this was the right move too. Obviously, the Young Bucks are a team that don't even need the titles. Um, they're so great just on their own. They don't, and especially being a part of the elite, they are well off without them. And I think this just fucking just this puts a rocket to the back of the Lucha Bros, and it's well deserved. I think this is their first tag team titles in AEW. So
Yeah.
hopefully they get a lengthy reign out of this. Interested to see where both teams go, but yeah, just trying to find the words and to describe this match is it would not do it justice. You really have to go and see it for yourself. If you are a pro wrestling fan, you know, take the time, sit down, grab some popcorn, get you a beer, and fucking watch this fucking match. It was too good.
Oh man, there's almost no words to describe this match, man. It was so good, man. Like it's it's been a while since I've seen a match that good. Um, I I'm lost for words, honestly. They did so good with back and forth, so good with the brutality of the match. Like at any second, it looked like one or the other team was gonna win. Um, that shot you talked about with Penta, oh man, that was my favorite part of the match because you could just see the blood leaking from outside of his mask and it's ripped up and it just shows you it is it epitomizes that match. That is what that match is. It's just a picture of Penta leaking
Yeah,
profusely out of his mask. Great back and forth, man. And it wasn't just violence for violence sake, like I know some other wrestling companies do. It wasn't just pure out violence. No, they were able to tell a story and put on a good wrestling match and still be violent at the same time.
hmm
It was it was an excellent match. I give it all praise, man. Like
indeed.
for me, it it might be match of the year, man. That was a really good match.
Yeah,
Um,
it's like if this one isn't match of the year, I mean the only other real contender in my mind is probably Walter Dragunov 2.
yeah,
I mean that, and as far as like brutality goes, it was definitely up there on the same level. But just yeah, I don't know if we had to pick matches of the year, those would be one and two easily for
yep.
me. And we still got some time left in the year, especially with how much AEW is on a roll recently. I mean they have the opportunity to fucking put on some more match of the year type candidates. So uh,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, just if you haven't seen it, go see it. Even
Oh
if you're
yeah.
not a fan of pro wrestling, you'll look at that shit and be like, "Oh my fucking god!" Like oh, Jesus Christ! Like these guys are trying to
I
kill each
I
other.
I 100% agree.
hmm
Uh, if you aren't a wrestling fan or you're a wrestling fan that's walked away because of the shit Vince does, please go watch this match. I guarantee you, it will reignite your love for wrestling, or ignite a love for wrestling in you. It was such a good match, man. Um, I was I was especially happy to see the Lucha Brothers get the win because I don't know they've been deserving of it for a while, and the 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 Young Bucks have been champions for a while. It was time for a switch up, and I don't think any team would better fit that than the Lucha Brothers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they've been on a roll over the past couple months, and it's just it's shown, man. And anytime we get to see more Ray Phoenix on our television screen, we'd be blessed with his presence. I'm all for
Yes, he's
that.
extremely talented.
Yes. Unfortunately, I mean, I could talk about this match all day, but we do have to transition on. And the next is the momentum kept on rolling, man. I don't think there was a down part of this show at all. We had the women's casino battle royal next. There's a lot of faces in here. There's people like Jade Cargill. You had Thunder Rosa, the Bunny, Ty Conti, Penelope Ford. I mean, the list goes on and on. Red Velvet was in there. List goes on and on. This is my first time actually like watching one of AEW's battle royals, and I like the way that they do it. Like with WWE, whenever they do like a battle royal or a Royal Rumble, they'll either send everybody down into the ring and it's just like a massive brawl and it's like really hard to like keep track of all the action sometimes, or like in case with the Royal Rumble, they bring people down one by one and then eliminations happen as they go. But this one, they obviously with it being a casino battle royal, they base their entrance by people getting put into groups, which is labeled by like a different suit of cards, which is like spade, clubs, diamonds, hearts, and then there's the Joker. Um, and Yes, I think that's really cool and innovative. It sends people down five at a time, um, and it's fresh, I guess is the right way to describe it. But I did mention the Joker, and obviously the Joker comes out at the end, and lo and behold, who is it that shows up as the Joker? It is Ruby Soho. She comes down. She comes out to a fucking huge pop. I don't think I've ever heard her get a pop like that. Obviously, um, she is another talent that WWE failed to utilize correctly, and she's found a new home in AEW. And got through the match. She gets down to the final two, and it's her and Thunder Rosa. And I wasn't sure exactly which direction they were going to go here. I know Thunder Rosa is incredibly over in AEW, and she's been there since day one. I know I think she signed a new contract recently there, um, so it came down to those two, and I wasn't really sure which direction they would have gone. I would have been okay either way, but they gave the rub to Ruby Soho, and I think obviously with her just now debuting in AEW, and even though Thunder Rosa's been there for a long time, I think it's well deserved for Ruby. She's been underutilized a lot the last few years, and Thunder Rosa will have her time, but I think it's cool that you get some star power, some more. Well, let me say that not that there isn't star power. We get some more star power in there, and someone like Ruby can come in and make an immediate impact. So she ended up winning the match. I'm glad she won. It was much deserved, and she has earned herself a title opportunity against Britt Baker. So that is the direction we're going. I'm not sure how soon we'll get the match, but um, yeah, it looks like that's going to be happening in our near future, and I can't wait for that match. That's gonna be one that burns the fucking house down for sure.
Oh man, I think for what it was, the battle royal itself was really good. Um,
Hmm.
we saw a lot of team ups. We saw people turn on each other. It was a good battle royal all overall. I don't know when's the last time I can say that for WWE, excluding the Royal Rumble. Like
I
their
can't remember
normal
the
battle.
I can't remember the last time they've done like an actual battle royal for like anything, which would actually be cool if they did, because it would I don't know that would actually be a lot more fresh than I don't know 70 rematches. Uh,
Yeah, it is.
um, but
Oh yeah, man.
but
Uh, the this battle royal was just it was good, and seeing Ruby Soho, man, it was just so heartwarming because she worked her ass off when she was in WWE, and she was never given a real opportunity at anything, and it sucks because she's so talented, and I could easily see her being a women's champion wherever she's at. That was including in WWE, but WWE just misused her, and uh,
yeah.
seeing how old she she was definitely over. I don't. They can't tell me she wasn't. But the pop she got when she came out was huge.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
it was just amazing to see her, and I'm incredibly excited to see when her and Britt Baker do have their matchup.
yeah. Same. They're gonna tear the house down, and to your point, I mean, we've always kind of seen her as a champion. The fact that whenever she was in WWE, that her and Liv Morgan never got the women's tag team titles, I think is fucking criminal. They were really the only established tag team that they had, and yet they kept throwing people together like Nia and Shayna, Natalya and Tamina. Even if like they tried to make sense of it, it didn't make sense from the fact that the Riot Squad was literally they'd been established for years. Um, and I know there was like a small breakup in between there, but I mean they had been like one of the few tag teams in the division for years. And the fact they never put the titles on her, like I said, I think that shit's criminal. But she's found a home and a place where they will utilize her correctly and give her some creative freedom. And I am very excited to see where she goes.
I agree.
Yeah, I think as Cameron Grimes likes to put it, we could see her going to the moon, baby. She's gonna be a huge star. Um, but yeah, is there any other thoughts you had on the match?
um, uh, and not many. Just congratulations to all those women because they put on an incredible match, and uh, excited to see where Ruby Soho goes. It's going to be amazing.
Indeed, indeed. Um, and then the momentum just kept on rolling, right? I mean, that was pretty much like um, if we could just simply just like break the pay-per-view down to a sentence, it was just momentum kept on going. It did not slow down. And we had another great matchup. It was time for MJF versus Chris Jericho. And if Jericho lost this match, he was never going to wrestle in AEW again. So there was pretty high stakes, obviously. And the way that this started was so great. MJF is a huge asshole. So if you haven't seen it, essentially what he does is up on the Titantron, there's a countdown, and Jericho's like real famous for his countdown over his career. It starts from 10, goes down. It even has like a similar sound to like the way the countdown used to be. And then at the end of the countdown, it says Jericho's last match, and MJF's music hit. He walks out looking like the Burger King. I can't remember who I saw say that earlier, but that made me laugh, so I had to quote. I think it was Simon from What Culture. He said that MJF came down looking like the Burger King, and I thought that was fucking funny as fuck. So shout out to Simon Miller. I love that guy. Um, but um, but yeah, so it was a huge troll. And he's just the biggest asshole. Like his heel work is so good. And overall, the match was really good. It was back and forth. But the main talking point for me is obviously like the way the match ended. So um, Wardlow ended up coming down the ramp. There's you see the camera go up to the ramp here. He's starting to walk down it. Jake Hager intercepts him. They start brawling. There's some referees that come out and try to break them up and send them off to the back. Um, and in the middle of this, like everybody's like distracted and whatnot. MJF ended up hitting a Judas effect on Jericho. He goes for the pin. Aubrey Edwards is the referee. You see one, you see two. Jericho puts his foot on the ropes, but the ref doesn't see it. She calls three, and the crowd went silent. They were like, "What the fuck did we just see?" But the way they set it up was really cool because they did have extra refs out there for the brawl to break that up, and one of the refs was like, no, 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 no. I saw one, two, foot on the ropes, and then three. This match should be restarted. They announced that the match would be restarted, and And so they did, and MJF was like, he looked like he had his favorite toy taken away at Christmas. I mean, he just he was so upset. He was like, "No, no, I thought I just ended his career." Yeah, they restart the match. Jericho ends up putting him in the walls, and MJF taps out, which is always a good sight to see because, um, yeah, MJF, he's a bit of an insufferable prick. Even though I love his work, obviously in his character, he's an insufferable prick. So it was nice to see him give up. But yeah, Jericho gets to keep wrestling. Obviously, this was kind of what we had expected. Jericho is a guy who's been around for so long, first ballot Hall of Famer. He deserves to go out on his terms the way that he wants to. Um, but I really like the swerve here because it really made you think. I was like, oh shit, did we just watch Jericho get retired like right here? And so it was really cool. The way that they played with your emotions throughout the match was incredible, and I give them all the credit in the world. They fucking fooled me.
Damn sure did. They got me too, man. Because that other ref doesn't come up immediately after um, the fake loss.
Right.
Um, yeah, so they leave it there for a second, like, nah, this is the legit end of Jericho's career. And that man started to get into my feelings a little bit, and then the ref, of course, went out there and corrected the other referee and had the match restarted.
Mhm.
And ah man, it was good to see the old lion tamer walls, whatever you prefer to call it.
Mhm.
Um, it was good to see Jericho finally get the W over MJF. Uh, it was a good match overall. Uh, like it definitely kept the momentum going. It was, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. They pulled the wool over my eyes. It was pretty good.
Yes, indeed. I'm also interested to see like this is like a regular talking point without, but it left you wondering. Like that's a thing with AEW that they do a lot. It's like the main question for like on for like the backlash of the matches, where do they go? Do they revisit this? It is obvious. I think MJF is probably obviously not um, not going to be happy with this loss. He's probably going to think that he got fucked over. So I'm expecting we'll see another match and maybe Jericho gets another win and they start building his momentum back up. But yeah, I don't think these two are done just yet. I think something else is bound to happen between them, and we might have some answers to that tonight on Dynamite.
Definitely, definitely.
Indeed. Um, and then it was the moment that sorry, I almost choked, that we all were waiting for. We had Darby Allin versus CM motherfucking Punk, and the main thing that I can say about this is that he's still got it. He's still got it. Um,
Uh,
the man is still just as good in the ring, if not better than what we thought. And this match was incredible. It's hard hitting. There was a spot where there was like an Irish whip into the corner, and Darby just like completely threw himself at the ring post there. Um, he's like through. It's like you could see like as the match went on, there's like this red welt on his back where it made contact. Um, really good spots. There's obviously Darby's got one of the best suicide dives in the not even in the company, but in the world. Um, and yeah, um, really good spots here. My favorite one is Darby's got the upper hand. Looks like he's trying to close Punk out. He's going for the coffin drop, and Punk counters it just by sitting up like he was the Undertaker. And then there's this cool shot of him laughing, like, yeah, I got you. I fucking did that. Like he had like this look on his face. He was just like, yeah. Like whenever someone like he had the look on his face, whatever, like Kobe would fucking drain a three in somebody's mouth. Like, God rest his soul, but yeah, he had the look. He was like, "Yeah, I did that. I fucking did that shit." And I thought that was really cool. There was another cool spot where Punk. It was like really early towards the middle of the match where Punk ended up hitting GTS on Darby, but his momentum carried Darby out of the ring. And Punk was like, "No, fuck," but he didn't go to the outside and like try to bring him back in. He was like, "I guess count him out because this motherfucker's whooping my ass. I'm not, I ain't trying to fucking deal with this shit no more." Uh, and he even said there was like an interview after the match where he said Darby was a tough bastard. And the thing with Darby is that every time he does take a loss like this, or he does or anything, he learns from it and he comes back. He comes back better. He comes back tougher. And even Punk said he was just like, I'm looking forward to my next challenge as long as it isn't Darby Allin. Which I thought was really cool. And then even after the match, we had Sting come down the ramp, and at first I wasn't really sure like what was gonna happen here. I was like, are they about to swerve us? Is there about to be like a heel turn or something? But no, Sting comes down, um, extends his hand down. Him and Punk shake hands. Darby ends up struggling to his feet, shakes hands with Punk, and there was signs of respect all around, which was not something we get a whole lot of in wrestling. So I thought that was really cool, and yeah, man, dude still got it. They tore the house down, and this was probably for me like probably like the second best match of the night. Like I thought Lucha Bros and Young Bucks took the cake easily, um, but Darby versus CM Punk is definitely second place.
Oh yeah, man. This match delivered in every way possible. It was so amazing to see Punk back in the ring, even if it was a little strange to see him in tights.
Yeah, it definitely was. I didn't expect to see that.
Yeah, but him and Darby Allin put on a great match. Um, for a first match back in 7 years, Punk did his thing, man. He really put on a good show.
He did
Um,
indeed.
I love the great back and forth between the two. Uh, one of my favorite spots was one you just mentioned when Punk hit him with the first GTS and he fell out of the ring. And it's just like, oh man. But
That
it was such a good spot, man. They had great chemistry, and I don't think this defeat hurts Darby Allin uh, at all. If anything, it made Darby Allin more popular with the fans. Um, I can't wait to see where Punk and Darby go from this point. Um, I think we're in for some exciting wrestling.
yeah, definitely. Um, let's see. Yeah, man. Once again, where do these two go? I'm interested to see. I know Darby's kind of um, been dealing with Garcia and 2.0, and there's not really anything set up for Punk moving forward. But I think we'll find out tonight. I think he's gonna have a talking segment tonight, so maybe we shall see what direction they go. But yeah, I'm looking forward to to where both these guys go, even if it means a rematch. Obviously, I know Punk said he didn't want it, but I think these two could fight forever, and I'd be okay with that. Um, Now following up, we had um, it was Paul White versus QT Marshall. It's cool to see. It's cool to see old tall Paul back in the ring. Um,
Mhm.
Obviously, he doesn't move around the same way that he used to, but I thought this was solid. It was really quick. It was essentially a squash. QT Marshall's down there with the factory. Um, they were all trying to get involved. You see Tall Paul using those frying pan like hands, just smacking people in the chest, choke slams everywhere. But yeah, he ended up getting a quick win here. I thought this was okay. Obviously, we needed something to kind of, I think, to slow it down a bit because they had been moving at a breakneck pace for at this point. I think it had been going on for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours, or something like that. So they did they definitely
Yeah.
needed to slow it down a bit. But some people probably needed a refill on their beer and their nachos. So, um, especially for what was going to be happening at the end of the night. Holy shit! We'll get into that in just a second. But yeah, I thought this was solid. It was cool to see. Um, but the main thing I'm wondering is how often are we going to see Paul step into the ring? Um, obviously, like uh, he's on the back end of his career. He'll probably end his career off in AEW. Um, so I'm not sure what direction he goes in. Um, but yeah, I thought it was cool to see him back. See a couple choke slams.
I agree. Um, I think this match was needed actually because people were like you said, it was all go 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 for like 3.5 hours.
Yeah,
There was no breaks. It was go 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 go, and I feel like this gave people a minute to breathe, collect themselves, and get themselves ready for the main event.
definitely. Um, definitely that. Not really too much else to say about it. Before we got to the main event, though, which there's a lot to talk about in this main event. Um, we had two promos, one from John Moxley and one from Malachi Black. Moxley cut a promo. It was pretty intense. It was setting up the match versus Minoru Suzuki on Wednesday, and then kind of similar for Malachi. He comes off as an incredibly menacing character, and he's got a match with Dustin Rhodes Wednesday or tonight rather on uh, on Dynamite. So I think both of those are going to be really good. I'm interested to see where they go. I actually did see Mr. Cody Rhodes. He posted a little teaser of it was a picture on his Instagram. It had no caption or anything, so there was nothing else to really speculate on. But the picture was of him as Stardust in WWE. So I don't know why he decided to post that, but I have a feeling he might show up tonight.
I agree. Um, I thought John Moxley's promo is good as usual. Like he's just good on the mic, hands down.
Yeah,
Um, the tease from Cody really got me excited because I mean Malachi already had me excited for the match, but that post by Cody really got me interested.
yeah, and I'm curious to see where they go with that. Obviously, we won't know until we see it, but Cody's been away for a while now. Malachi's run roughshod all over the Nightmare family, and so I think it's time that somebody kind of came out and gave Malachi a run for his money. Obviously, he hasn't really had much competition. He is, like I said, he's run right through the Nightmare family. So I think it's about time we see a 20-minute drawn out match with Malachi and somebody else. And if that's Cody Rhodes, I mean that's gonna be a hell of a match.
I agree.
Yes, sir. Now to our main event. Ooh man. And if I could say this was definitely too sweet. Um, so and this was another physical match. It was Christian Cage, Kenny Omega, AEW World Championship. Like I said, very physical match. Some cool spots. There was a spear on the outside through a table. A lot of near falls. I think Christian hit the kill switch at one point, and Kenny kicked out at like 2 and 82, 83rds or something like out. Like it was very close. Definitely had you on the edge of your seat the entire match, back and forth. And then the way the match ended was fucking nasty. I did not see it coming. So um, Kenny's up on the top rope, and Christian decides is like he's gonna try to hit him with a kill switch from the top. And Kenny ends up countering that, puts him up for the one-winged angel, does an avalanche one-winged angel from the top, which looked fucking brutal. Because like the way that Christian landed, he landed like on his shoulder neck area, and I was like, ooh, like that had to hurt. Um, but he hit the avalanche one-winged angel, and ended up getting the pin here, which I kind of expected. Obviously, they took the Impact World Title off of him recently. I don't expect that Kenny, or I didn't expect rather that Kenny was going to lose the AEW title here, but they managed to put on an incredible match. But before we get to what happened after, what was your opinion on the match itself?
A really interesting match. I was wondering how they were going to top their match for the Impact World Championship, which I thought was a really good match. And they did it. They exceeded my expectations, man. That when he kicked out, I really thought it might be over when he hit that kill switch.
Hmm.
Uh, Even though I went into the match thinking that Omega was going to win, that spot got me.
Yep.
And that nasty one winged angel, man, just ooh.
Yeah, that the move in itself looks nasty, but just hitting that from the top rope was even crazier in my opinion.
Oh yeah, I I really enjoyed the match. Great back and forth. These two have great chemistry in the ring. I maybe not right now, but I wouldn't mind seeing them run it back in the future
Yep.
because they put on great matches together. Um, I, I don't. There's not much more for me to say about it. Just it was a really good match.
Yep. I think Christian proved too that he is definitely like a main event caliber player and that he should be treated as such wherever he goes. Unfortunately, WWE had some different plans for him, which they usually do for most of their talent, which is, like I said, unfortunate. Um, but yeah, I really am impressed with Christian, especially like having been out of wrestling for so long. I think it was like 6 7 years or so before he stepped in a ring back in AEW, and he just keeps putting on banger after banger. And I'm excited to see where he goes. Obviously, we'll see him on Impact, defending that title, and he's already over in AEW, so he's going to be going back and forth between the brands. I still don't have a solid way to watch Impact yet, but um, once I can, I'll let you know, and then we can start covering that also. Um, but yeah, so then the meat and potatoes of this segment really was what happened afterwards. So obviously the elite come down. They start ambushing Christian. Um, and it was everybody there. I mean, you had the Young Bucks. They come out. I think it was Nick Jackson. He had the fucking big ass ice pack on his shoulder, and they had tape on their heads from all the blood. And obviously the Good Brothers were there. Brandon Cutler's dumbass was out there too. Don Callis was there. Um, they had everybody, and well, I say everybody. They didn't have everybody, but we'll get to that. So Jurassic Express comes down. They try to save, but the numbers game got to them. And then Kenny goes to cut a promo. And usually, whenever if the pay-per-view doesn't end, whenever the champion is holding the title up and just basking in his glory, shout out to Keith Lee. Um, fucking usually some shit's about to go down, and they delivered. So Kenny Omega gets on the mic, starts to cut a promo. He's just like, "Have you figured it out yet, Chicago?" And essentially saying is like, "There's nobody better than him. He has no care for their hometown heroes." Taking a shot at like CM Punk and stuff there. Um, and he goes on to say, he was just like, "The only people that could beat me for this title are either not here, meaning not in the company, already retired, or already dead." And then the second he says dead, the lights go out. And man, it's all about the boom. Fucking, who is it that comes out? It's Adam Cole, baby. He comes out. He is officially in AEW. We were very curious to see what his next move was after leaving NXT, and he has found himself a new home. He is now all elite. He comes down, and the pop for this was just incredible. Um, I don't think anybody. I think people were expecting it, but I don't think they expected it to happen in the way that it did. So obviously, he was a member of the elite. They did this like little thing on their YouTube channel where they killed him off after he went to WWE. So it was kind of cool to see. It was like already dead, but now it seems like he's back to life now. Um, he comes down and he's like he's saying, I remember what you did to me. Do you remember? Did you forget? He gets down, he's like he's looks like he's getting ready to attack Omega, and then he just super kicks Jungle Boy's head off. Like he swerved us all, and super kicks Jungle Boy's head off. Fucking rejoins the elite. He says like the big hug. They looked elated. It's cool to see them all together. Um, they were kissing him on the cheek and stuff. He cut a promo. There was a small little dig at WWE and Vince. I don't know if you caught it, but he said he's like there ain't no chance in hell that anyone's gonna stop us. So I thought that was funny. And then just when you thought it was over, Kenny Omega gets back on the mic. He says, now it's time to do what I do best, and that's send the crowd home happy. He says, now I bid you adieu and goodbye. And then whose music hits? None other than Bryan Danielson, also known as Daniel Bryan in WWE. He is also
Yeah.
all elite. He is made probably like the biggest transfer of talent from WWE to AEW so far is Bryan Danielson. The American Dragon is back. He came out there, major pop, yes chants everywhere. Um, and yeah, man, he came out sided with Jurassic Express, and then they ended up brawling. Kenny Omega got out of the ring like a coward. Um, he's over there. I think it was Matt Jackson. He was just kicking the shit out of his chest. I'm pretty sure pretty sure he broke his
Oh,
sternum. Hits him with a running knee. He's up there and he's got a fucking banger entrance. They kept Flight of the Valkyrie, but they added like it was like I can't remember who it was that said this. I saw it somewhere, but they said Flight of the Trapperies because it's like a trap mix of
oh yeah.
of Flight of the Valkyrie, which I thought was cool. It was definitely a banger. Um, but yeah, man. So Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson are both all elite, and it's beautiful to see, man. They have cultivated an incredible roster over there, and it seems like even more people. We'll talk about this after we're done here, but got some information earlier that might be interesting to some people about some specific individuals' contracts. So we might see some more individuals show up in AEW, but this was a
Hmm.
perfect way to end the show. There was definitely the double swerve because people thought that Bryan Danielson was going to show up, um, but not in the way that it happened. So it was definitely just beautiful all around. 10 out of 10.
Oh yeah, man. Uh, Honestly, when Adam Cole came out there, I gave up hope that Daniel Bryan was showing up that night
Hmm.
because I was like, "There's no way they're going to debut both of them the same night at the same time. There's just no way that's happening." So when he came out there with his straight up gangsta new theme song,
Hmm.
I popped so hard. Not even gonna lie. Oh man, it was so exciting, and he shows that he can still go in the ring. In even in that brief segment, it was so good to see both of those guys. Both of those guys are top of their game, two of the best in the world.
Hmm. It, it,
It
it
was such a beautiful moment, man. This segment alone gets a 10 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, this is as far as like just pure moments. This is moment of the week easily. Uh, I don't think of anything else that could top this. It was just the perfect uh, cherry on top, chef's kiss way to end a pay per view. That was literally a 10 out of 10.
Oh man, it was the cherry on top of a fucking great milkshake, man. It was amazing.
Yeah. And yeah, so obviously with Adam Cole being back in the Elite, and it doesn't seem like he's gonna be going for that world title. So we'll see where they go in the future. But now that Bryan Danielson is there, that is another huge name that'll come after Kenny Omega. And you can find the video online, but it wasn't a part of the pay-per-view. It kind of went off air after that. But he like ended up cutting a promo on the crowd, saying that why he's there. He said he appreciated working for WWE, which is nice to see. You don't always. I understand some people are bitter from working there. I would be, but it's cool to see that he at least showed some appreciation. Very professional of him. And yeah, he's there to. I think in his words, he said to kick people's fucking heads off. So yeah, it's crazy. The dude was literally earlier this year in the main event of WrestleMania, and now has showed up in AEW. Um, I can't wait to see where they go. Um, obviously, obviously Brian is going to be a huge main event player there. I can't wait to see some of the people he steps in the ring with. I mean, there's just so many talented individuals over there. Maybe we get him versus CM Punk soon. That would be a banger. I mean, I could sit here and list off their whole roster really, and that'd be a good match because we like the analogy is just like this X person can step into the ring with a broomstick and make it a 5-star match. Brian Danielson is one of those people for sure.
Yes, 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 for sure.
hmm he made Roman Reigns look good before Roman Reigns really knew how to wrestle. Okay.
This is true.
so
This is true.
I mean let's be real here. Um, but yeah, that was the way they ended off the show. Like I said, I gave this a pure 10 out of 10. I mean, not much in life is perfect, but fucking hell, man, was this close to it?
Oh yeah. It was honestly, I give the whole pay per view a 10 out of 10. I I really just enjoyed it that much. Even the bleak moments like Paul White versus QT Marshall, excuse me. Uh,
Yeah,
it
cute.
was
You might as well just call him Michelle at that point.
yeah,
Marshall sounds so fucking dumb.
man. I haven't been this captivated by a pay per view from get go to end in God knows how long, man. Like
hmm
it's been forever since a pay per view has had me on the edge of my seat, beginning to end.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, I can't think of the last time uh, that I haven't like got up in the middle of a pay-per-view to like go make food or something. Like this sat like I sat down at my computer watching this for the entire duration. It was like going on like 4.5, 5 hours. Like it was a long pay-per-view, but I did not get up. I was happy when it ended because I could actually go to the bathroom. But, but yeah, no, that was the only reason why I was happy it could end, so that way I could actually go take a piss. Um, but yeah, pure 10 out of 10. Um, and yeah, so like we said, we did get a little bit of news. I believe it was um, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful who got a report on it was Kevin Owens from WWE. We feel appropriate to throw this in here because we did talk about how some people might be showing up to to AEW from WWE. Kevin Owens' contract expires in January,
yeah,
so obviously he's one of those. He's another one of those talents that is it was very underutilized. Obviously, I mean he's been in some high spots. He's one of the uh, on the few handful of Universal Champions that they've had. He had a pretty lengthy run with that until they fed him to Goldberg. But um, yeah, so I think we might see in the future at some point because there has been a little bit of teasing going on that we may see the news that Kevin Steen is all elite. And on top of that, apparently Sami Zayn's contract also ends at the end of this year. So, I mean,
El Generico, all elite.
El Generico could be becoming all elite. So, um, yeah, I mean, obviously they do have a lot of homegrown talent. I know there's people that have like some issues with them constantly bringing in talent from the outside, but when you add star power like that, it's only really going to elevate everybody else in the locker room. And they've done a really good job, I think, of not putting like um, the older people from WWE and like pure like main event spots. They're still building up talent. They're obviously they have a lot of homegrown stars, and they'll be developing a lot more. So I don't see any problem with them bringing in talent, especially now that Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson's there, and for the future, maybe even Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn showing up. So um, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I'd love to see it, and I think the real way that we should end this is with a question. Um, how does WWE respond to this? How do they
Good
respond?
question.
Obviously, we'll talk about it this weekend, but they followed it up with they had to pretty much follow up with Monday Night Raw. Um, and the spoiler alert, it was not nearly as good as All Out. So
Nowhere close.
nowhere close. So yeah, man, this was a hell of a pay-per-view. Um, I'm pretty much I'm pretty much stretched for words at this point. Do you have any other closing thoughts?
Um, we say this every week. If you haven't given AEW a chance, please do. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
especially this all out pay per view. If you can find it some way to watch it, go ahead, man, because it was top notch.
yeah. It was mind-blowing how good it was. So so yeah. Well, I guess uh, I guess that's it. I don't have anything else. If you don't have anything else to add, then we can go ahead and call it here if you'd like. I don't know. Do you have any other thoughts?
I know I'm good.
All right. Well, this was episode 4, right? It's 4. This is the fourth one
Yeah,
of the Your
yeah.
Future Endeavors podcast from Diavolo.
And lunchbox.
Thank you for tuning in if you have, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.
Ciao.